Good evening, everyone. My name is Pavel Panchi, and I'm in ABSL, ABSL board member responsible for strategy and business development. I would like to provide a couple of technical information before we start the ABSL ordinary annual General Assembly meeting. I will start with the technical information. All duly registered and authorized representatives of ABSL members can receive yesterday individual voting cards from a dedicated email address that was general.assembly@abslpl. Please have them ready as the formal voting will take place after the presentation at the end of today's meeting. If you encounter any technical difficulties with opening voting cards, please use chat box to ask for technical support.
Special attention to stay connected in different ways that usual PA do have for progress, etc. It's about getting holiday, talking more one-to-one, having more individual discussions that will, especially those who are alone, bring them much closer to us and find out what the problem is. That was definitely something I'm very proud of. And by that time, we have realized how many talented people we have, not PSC area, but people sing, people write poems, people like excellent photos, people do yoga.
I think there is some kind of voice in the background. I'm not sure. Let me check the technical information. Great. I think we can proceed right now. So back to the information about the technical support. You have received individual voting cards. And they should have come to you from the general.assembly@absl.pl address. Please have the cards ready as the formal voting will take place at the end of today's meeting. If you encounter any technical difficulties, please use regarding the voting cards, please use the chat to ask for the technical support. The registration and voting system for today's general meeting was prepared by 21 Infinity, which supports us in all IT activities. This is the first time we have been able to conduct online voting with you. Some of you might have noticed that we have previously met physically. So now we are able to do so thanks to the cooperation with our supplier. Now let's move to the agenda of our meeting. You see the points that we'll go through. We will start with a summary of 2020 and then financial review, audition committee remarks, Q&A session, and the formal voting. To initiate today's meeting, I would like to ask Piotr Dziwok, ABSL President, to officially start today's General Assembly. Piotr.
Thank you, Pavel, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And before I formally start the summary, I want to pass a few thanks and congratulations. We've just closed our digital forum, and this forum proved that the sector is in very good shape and continues growing. This is an achievement of the sector leaders, and I want to thank you all, the sector leaders, for the fantastic results. Thank you, dear members. Coming back to the summary, and please move the slide. We are facing the 10 years of the sector growth, and you see several numbers on the slide. I'll start with this on the bottom. Therefore, 338,000 people are working in our sector. This is the information from the Q4 of 2019. This fantastic number, but also we are facing every year, the average growth for the last years is 10%. And important information, which we also learned from the report which was presented yesterday by Wojtek Popławski, our industry is creating together 3.5% of Polish GDP. This is also a fantastic number, and we should be really proud of this. And since this year, we started also to look for the sector as the biggest exporter of Poland. And we are exporting, the sector is exporting or is responsible for the export of almost $20 billion export. And we became the biggest export industry. And we are at this moment bigger than the car parts and the furniture. We should be really proud of those numbers. If we can move to the next slide. The year 2019 was a very special year for our ABSL. In this year, we've been celebrating the 10th anniversary, and we grew from being a very small organization. At this moment, we are big and reputable. At this moment, we are having 220 members. And this year or last year, 33 new members joined ABSL. And again, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for our members for being with us. And also, I'm very grateful and I appreciate that the 33 companies decided to join ABSL. And I hope that the fact that we've got our loyal members and the new members are coming, that this is a reflection that we are fulfilling our members' expectations. Going further with the numbers, at this moment we are operating 8 regional chapters. You may be recalling that we started with several, and this is growing. And again, very many thanks for those of you, because many of you are leading those chapters, for your active work and encouragement to the members and the member employees to join those chapters. We are active also in other ways. We are running 5 clubs, thematic clubs, and also 18 different communities. And on the top of this, you are aware that we are at this moment present in 5 other countries in Europe, and specifically in Czech Republic, Romania, Balkans, Baltic countries, and Switzerland. If we can move to the next slide. The year 2019 was a very special year for us. This was the year of celebration. And accordingly to this, we've organized our biggest, historically the biggest conference. And I'm pretty happy to share with you. You probably know that Bill Clinton joined our conference and as a keynote speaker. But also we've got some other honorable guests joining our other events. Just to give you several examples, Mrs. Mosbacher joined our ABSL Gala, and Mr. Govin, Polish Vice Prime Minister, and Jadwiga Emilewicz joined several other events. It's important to say that those events are extremely popular among our members, and over 3,000 guests joined our main events in 2019. It's important to remember this 3,000 because I'll refer to this a little later. If we can move to the next slide. In 2019, it was important for us, and we promised that at our last conference to expand our offer and benefits to our members. The members are in the center of our attention. And in 2019, we've organized over 300 meetings and events, both regional and at country level. And as you see, this is almost 1 meeting per day is happening or was happening last year for ABSL. Primarily they've been happening in the regions, and as said before, we've been to support our members in terms of engagement, but also exchange of information, providing relevant information, but also capturing the relevant points from our members. We've been pretty active in regional chapters, the clubs and communities. But also we've been running so-called flying chapters for the medium-sized cities like Bydgoszcz, Lublin and Radom. We continue with our scheme of ABSL ambassadors. I believe that through running those engagements with our members, we've been able to continue with our role of influencer, integrator. We've been able to deliver our both leadership and talent, and we've been also acting as an active talent booster. One of our promises, which we gave to the last conference, we promised it probably 3 years ago, to improve the way as we are communicating with our members, but also to work more on the business intelligence. And to deliver those promises, we've created the Facebook Workplace, which is widely used by our members, but also we refreshed and renewed our ABSL website. I hope you like it and you are using it for your benefit. Pretty important element of our activity was the cooperation or the working together with media. And this is the communicating with the external world. And last year, we've provided over 500 expert comments to the media. And this is also clear that we are quoted very often, not only by media, but also by different organizations and NGOs. And I'll say that we became the trusted advisor to both government and the local authorities. We've also issued our annual report for 2019. We've been pretty active with medium-sized cities, and we've created the report on this topic. We've also created 2 different reports, specific reports for Kraków and Szczecin. Just to respond to the need for better business intelligence, we've created the new BI organization in ABSL. And I hope that this is already delivering and this will continue to deliver the better access for the members of the industry MI. Let's move to the next slide. Another important element of our activity was talent. And here we've done quite a lot. We continue with our roadshows. We started collaboration with the University of Economics in Kraków and with Professor Jerzy Hausner. And I'm proud to say that at this moment, our members companies are running several courses in the university. And we are also expanding the awareness and knowledge about our industry in the university. We also continued with the postgraduate business service course at SGH University in Warsaw. We continue with the exempt from theory model, and by doing this, we helped 150 young people to join our sector companies. We continue with working together. The diversity aspect for the industry and for our companies is critically important, and that's why we are managing several initiatives. But through working together, we've activated several thousand people from over 70 companies in 9 cities, which was the clear demonstration of the importance of the diversity matters. And then now I'm coming to advocacy. This is the last on this slide, but this is probably one of the most important activities of ABSL. We continue to be very active here, and thank you very much to all the members for the ongoing support. We cannot run it without you. And as I said, we've been pretty active, and we've got several successes here. Together with some other organizations, we've created coalition, and we've been successful in convincing government to postpone or to stop the ZUS limit implementation. And this actually happened the 3rd year in a row. You may remember that we've been running this thread in the past years as well. We've been also successful with delaying some obligations related to withholding tax, which is primarily important for the foreign companies operating in Poland. One of the things on our priorities is to simplify conditions for hiring foreigners. We've got some progress here. We are not yet there, and we'll continue working here. But I'm proud to say that the dialogue brought some simplification. To make ourselves stronger and to further support our advocacy, we get into several cross-industry partnerships. and advocating together with some other bodies, it's much more effective. Finally, we started quite an interesting scheme together with the Ministry of Development, and with the aim to develop the fourth tier cities. And this is going well, and I think that this will be important for the coming years for ABSL as well. The next slide, please. All those activities, they've been primarily delivered to fulfill our mission. And you may remember that the ABSL mission is to develop the power of the modern business service sector and to create conditions for its continued growth in Poland and Central Europe. We've been organized accordingly with 4 key priorities. The first one is advocacy, then the community's engagement, and this is including chapters, therefore acting in the regions as well, then communication and talent. I believe that that in the end of 2019, ABSL is highly respected organization, became or is highly respected organization, and acts as a trusted advisor in our relation with government, local authorities, NGOs, other industry bodies in Poland and abroad. I'm very proud that we are leading our industry, but also we are becoming something more than just the organization for our industry. I believe that that we are becoming one of the biggest, strongest employer association, and we feel it when we are talking to government, when we are inviting government bodies to participate to our events. I think that we've used the time, the 10 years time, pretty well, and I hope that you, our members, you've got similar feeling. And if we can move to the next slide. And 2020 is a very special year. This is the year of COVID. We didn't have experience like this in the history. And even so, even if we cannot meet personally with our members and with any other organizations, we've organized already 67 events during this year, and majority of them, they've been virtual events. And this is interesting fact that since the beginning of the year, 3,500 participants joined our different events. I think that we are talking quite a lot that COVID time is the time when you cannot socialize and you cannot meet other people, but actually we are delivering it. I believe that this is because of the fact that in those difficult times, ABSL advice and the forum to exchange ideas and learn is even more important. And therefore our seminars and our virtual meetings organized to give the guidance on how to manage COVID and how to return to the office, our common meetings to create consolidated advocacy list for the anti-crisis fields. They've been really important and really supported by the members. We continue, apart from COVID and the response to COVID, we continue with our standard activities. We've run the Entrepreneurial Council, we've run the regional experts forums, and we still continue to work together with our partners to deliver better PI information. And we'll continue doing it this year, and also we'll continue to manage to deliver our four priorities for our members. If we can move to the next slide. This year is an important year, and we are increasing the number of events, even in the COVID time. And already this year we've successfully delivered the EMEA's business service landscape virtual meeting. It was pretty popular, and we've got almost 500 people, 500 participants, not only from Poland, but also from other countries in the region. Today, we are concluding the business resilience, the digital forum on business resilience in the face of crisis. And similarly to EMEA forum, we've got over 500 people taking part into different events. The year is going, and will continue with different other events. We are planning to run later this year in September the ABSL FDI forum, and we'll each year we'll run the ABSL, and this is going to happen in December, as well as the ABSL Tech Lab. We've got quite a lot of discussions whether we should be running the ABSL summit this year. Initially, this was scheduled for June this year, but in the end, we took the decision that we really like to have confidence that we'll meet for this meeting in person with our members and partners, and therefore we've decided to move this summit to the coming year, to 2021. This is my short summary of 2019 and the key points for 2020. And again, I like to pass very many thanks to you, our members, and also to you, our partners, and also to all the ABSL people which are active in the regions with the chapters, and also to the ABSL strategic board and ABSL management board, because everything what was achieved in a big cooperation between all those people. Thank you very much for 2019, and I'm looking forward to work together in 2020. And I'm giving back the microphone to Paweł Panczej.
Thank you, Piotr, for this warm intro and summary of 2019. That was interesting to see how many events we have organized and how many people participate in it. Now I would like to ask Marcin Nowak, ABSL Management Board President, to provide information on 2019, the financial summary, among others. And please remember, if you have any questions, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so you will be able to ask all the questions. Marcin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Paweł, and welcome everybody. As I was introduced, my name is Marcin Nowak, and since a few months I have a privilege to represent ABSL as a head of management board. So let me guide you briefly through financial area of ABSL operation in fiscal year 2019, and also sharing the outlook to the current budget in 2020. Next slide, please. So for 2019, the most important message is that we closed the year with the positive results of 19.5 thousand zlotys. And on top of that, our cash position was secured at the end of the year, showing 108,000 zlotys above reserve capital, what states 588,000 zlotys cash in total. As Piotr mentioned, a couple of minutes back, the 2019 was a unique and exceptional year for us due to the 10th anniversary, and intentionally budget assumed 200,000 zlotys internal investment to annual conference. However, finally, as you see on the table, there was 900,000 more negative balance variation, causing in total minus 1.1 million zlotys investment on 10th annual conference. But implemented tough financial rules in H2 of 2019, leveraged by higher revenue from the new joiners and strategic partners, support to achieve positive results at the end of the year. We should remember that ABSL is a non-profit organization whose result achieved in 2019 is still being recognized positively. That was also confirmed by external auditor KPMG, which performed the audit recently for period between January and December 2019. We positively passed audit control with no either major, no minor non-conformities, and with only 4 observations recommendations. That was really good result. So next slide, please. Okay, so let's go to 2020 assumptions. In November 2019, and finally on strategic board meeting in January 2020, the strategic board approved ABSL budget for this year. The budget assuming 40,000 zlotys net profit. For this year, we visibly changed cost allocation to keep better control on budget, what did turn out to be a good decision, anticipating challenges brought by COVID in March this year. As every company, every organization were hit negatively by pandemic situation, but we built a few contingency financial scenarios to based on the recognized risks. And that was those risks being reduced revenue from the event sponsors, challenges with revenue collection from strategic partners who are struggling with COVID side effect exactly as we, as well potential risk that research and analytics income will be reduced due to the lower advertisement income. But at the same time, with this year, we can point out actions recognized as opportunities to leverage contemporary situation. We positively collected 96% of membership fees. We reviewed a list of suppliers, selecting the best suppliers in the market. For cost transfer from 2019, the accruals has been created, and we also actively looking for the new opportunities for revenue. On top of that, the financial control mechanism became much stronger in 2020. So that's how we are prepared for the current year. Next slide, please. And the last point for financial and organizational perspective is to inform you and ask later for approval for new selected external auditor for year 2020, which is Riddle & Partner. Selection was not easy, as we must pay attention to avoid potential compliance issue, and we have been forced to remove from the selection list many well-recognized auditors who are currently members of ABSL as well. So finally, we shortlisted 4 auditors, and the selection was driven based on the knowledge about our sector, knowledge about the NGO organization, plus of course price attractiveness. So finally, Riddle & Partner was selected and accepted by Audit Committee and Management Board. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this brief journey gives you a clear picture how ABSL secures financial part of operation. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcin. And as a continuation, we always, in such situation, would like to provide the comment from the ABSL Audit Committee. To do so, I would like to request Radek Mierzejewski, Managing Director of the FDS based in Poznań and member of Audit Committee, to provide his comments.
Great, thank you, Paweł. So, hello everybody, my name is Radek Mierzejewski, and I just wanted to say a few words about ABSL Audit Committee. As you know, Audit Committee plays an important role in ABSL governance structure, and as such, we have 3 main areas of focus. Number 1, the fiduciary duty that we have both towards our members and partners, as well as to our mission objectives. Number 2, the financial oversight of ABSL activities. And number 3, the legal compliance of the activities that we engaged in. In each of those 3 areas, we as Audit Committee have satisfied ourselves in terms of the activities that have been carried out. For example, in terms of fiduciary duty, we do actively participate and involve ourselves in ABSL board meetings and projects, as well as ensure the full transparency and disclosure of all of the activities in our annual joint report of the Management Board and Strategic Board. In terms of financial oversight, we have satisfied ourselves in terms of the management accounts, the budgets, the forecasts that have been presented, as well as liaising with the auditors and being involved, as was pointed out by Marcin, in the selection of our new auditors for the years to come. In terms of legal compliance, we do obviously have our internal legal and compliance director, and we do liaise with them on significant legal agreements and contracts as required, and do seek external advice and reviews from time to time as dictated by need. So overall, we're satisfied with the activities and certainly can provide a clear go-ahead in terms of the years ahead. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Radek. So now we have another point on our agenda, which is a Q&A session. We have a couple of questions already in the chat box, but I would like to see if there are any questions that could be placed by the people that want to ask them. You can raise them, but if not, then I'll start reading the ones from the chat box. To provide the answers to the specific questions that you may have related to ABSL decisions, you will have specific members of the strategic board ready to answer them. Among them Jacek Lewernes, Janusz Dziurzyński, Jola Jaworska, of course Piotr Dziwok, Marcin Nowak and myself. So if we don't see anyone asking the questions live, I will start reading the questions from the chat box. Wojciech, who registered as guest, asks, why have we spent more than budgeted on business intelligence? As this is the business intelligence question, then probably Wojtek Popławski, who is responsible for business intel, could answer that. We can also ask the support of Marcin Nowak, who is overseeing the financial questions within ABSL, but probably Wojtek Popławski first. Wojtek, are you with us?
I'm not sure Wojtek was foreseen to be online.
We don't see him, so Marcin, would you like to provide the information?
Yeah, sure, exactly. Wojtek has not active in this conversation. Indeed, yeah. So there was no higher spend, that was less revenue, because the result on the business intelligence P&L, there is a balance between the revenue and costs. And due to the fact that unfortunately we didn't collect enough revenue from the advertisement, so the overall results was slightly worse than assumed.
I may add to this information, as the one responsible for collecting the money from the potential partners, that truly there was a lower interest in being a partner both at the EMEA report and at the annual report, where usually we used to have between 10 and 12 partners, probably because of the financial situation of some of the Polish cities who used to be the main partners of the publications. We were not able to convince them to place their advertisements in the publication. So that is why there may be a difference between the budget planned and the budget collected and the budget spent. Let's proceed to the next question, unless there is a follow-up to this one. I don't see it, so I will go to another one. Why management is rising by 200% from 520K in 2019 to 991K in 2020? This is the financial question, so probably Marcin, we would like to ask you to answer it.
Okay, so again me. So first of all, we should point that the management board contains two members, 2 or 3 members, yeah, so from the organization, and 2 which are from the strategic board. And those from the strategic board are working for free and representing ABSL, incorporating the ABSL without any recognition. So what coming back to the comparison of the figures, as I mentioned in my presentation, we changed the cost structure between 2019 and 2020. And we cannot compare as a April to April the line management in the financial summary of 2019 and 2020, because in the 2019 we should take in the two lines, management and success fee together, and then starting to compare with the line management in this year. But on top of that is the fact that we exclude some costs and adding others. You see also that comparing admin, PR, and advocacy costs, we are reducing them because that was a simple shift between the lines. So we cannot take simple management to management because, as I mentioned, we changed the cost structure.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcin. Still, if you need any follow-up to the provided answers, drop your questions at the chat box. I don't see any new questions coming up, but when we registered or prepared the General Assembly meeting, we also received a couple of questions that I can quote right now. One of them was, is there going to be a ABSL Summit 2020, or will it be shifted to the next year? This is an event, and it's a general summit, ABSL Summit, so probably Jacek Levernes, if you could answer that question.
Yes, hi. I think our joint decision this year, looking at the situation with COVID-19, has actually been just like today, to do things more virtual and more digital. So we have spread the different events over the next month, like the previous event that we had just a month ago with the MEA report, the digital forum, which we have currently. We're foreseeing also event looking at foreign direct investment in September, and also some medium-sized event, of course, which we're still designing at the end of the year, depending a little bit how the situation looks. So long story short, the summit will be happening in next June again, and the plan is to still have it in Tri-City. So basically, the summit that we're used to with around 1,000 people and top guests and much more networking and live sessions, we're hoping to hold that next year in June. And more information, of course, to come.
Thank you, Jacek. I'm observing the chat box, but don't see any new questions, so I will move on to the one that we received previously, and that will probably be the last question, because I know that Viola Bobryk, our legal advisor, wants to move on to the voting. So the last question is, looks like we are working with the government quite well. Today's presence of Emilewicz at our conference. Is the government listening to us? Do they plan anything related to the topics that we have suggested, like remote work or work from home? Do we see any benefits from being in other organizations that represent the employees? This is the PA topic, so Jola Jaworska, if you could answer this one.
Hello, everybody. To answer these questions, to some extent, yes, they are listening to us, and you have the examples, and you had the examples of what was changed. Right now, I must say we are repeating to the government our messages, the ones that are not fully satisfying us, and this will continue. Our participation in the other organizations we value this partnership and cooperation. We are very carefully examining each appeal that we are sending to the government. because as you can imagine, being one of the many organizations, there are all different voices which we have to consider. So yes, we will continue with the other organizations. Yes, we will continue with the government. It's not always that they are fully listening to our proposals, but as Deputy Prime Minister Emilewicz said today during our forum, she said that she's open for the discussion with us, and I'm sure we will use this opportunity and we will come back to her and talk to her about the issues that are still open. And one of them is, of course, the remote work and the regulations around that.
Thank you very much, Viola. We have received one last question, so please do not drop any more questions. We will not have enough time to answer, but I have one question. Just like companies are thinking about what of the experience they should take over into the post-COVID future, is there similar thought process for ABSL? Anything you think we will do differently? This is more strategic question, so probably Piotr, as the president, if you could answer this one. Is there any similar process like within the companies for ABSL? Anything we will do differently because of the post-COVID future?
I should say that I am very proud that we went through the COVID together with our members. If you think about advocacy, which we've been running together and we've been using quite widely the input from the companies, this was very important. We've been commonly thinking how to react to the crisis, and I think that we've been also very successful as an industry to manage the crisis. I think that out of the crisis we are much stronger than we've been before. We've proven that we are agile, that we can quickly adapt to the circumstances. We've done it much better than maybe some other countries. And we should be very proud of it. This is probably the beginning. And we are very keen to work together with our partners to look for further steps. And even this digital forum today was very much dedicated to think about the scenarios. Therefore, we are thinking together with our members about the future scenarios, and we'll continue doing it. If you ask me what can we do differently, I don't think that there are many instances where we did things not in the right way. We've immediately moved ourselves to work from home. We've exchanged information how we can support our people to working from home. We are at this moment lobbying with government how government may help us to retain in this situation for longer. But also we are working together on the scenarios. When thinking hard, what can we do better? I've been speaking with some companies which been not perfectly prepared for the remote working, and I think that the digital work is going to be much more important for us than it was before the COVID. The process has been happening, therefore we've been digitalizing stuff, but this was happening slower. Now it's going very fast. Therefore, probably this is one of the key learnings, even better in digital.
Okay, thank you very much, Piotr. We have received one more question, but as I said, we should move on to voting. So guest number 5797, we will answer that question, or we will provide the information to that, maybe the answer to that question, if you contact us directly at absl@absl.pl. That will conclude this part of Q&A, and we will move now to formal voting. Last part of the meeting when we will complete the formal voting. Viola, would you like to take over and present the information that are necessary to vote correctly? Viola Bobryk.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Pavel. After Q&A session, let's move to the last part of the meeting, which is formal voting. Yesterday, all duly registered and confirmed member companies' representatives received a link to individual voting cards sent to their email addresses. Please have them ready. I hope all of you already opened them. Let me guide you through the voting card. The General Assembly will vote on several resolutions today. First of all, it will be the resolution on approval of the joint Management Board and Strategic Board report on ABSL activities. Then approval on the report of the Audit Committee and the approval on the financial statement. All those documents were available to our members via ABSL website. Next, General Assembly will also take decision on the profit allocation, which, according to the Management Board recommendation, should be allocated to the reserve capital and used for statutory objectives. Additionally, General Assembly will adopt resolution on the acknowledgement of ABSL authorities' duties during the financial year 2019. One remark here, as you can see in this resolution, there are listed also names of the new members of Strategic Board and Audit Committee elected in December 2019. As their term of office started in December. That's why they are listed in this resolution. And finally, there is the last resolution on confirmation of ABSL auditor for the next year, for the financial statement review 2020. Which, upon recommendation of the Management Board and Audit Committee, is Rodel and Partner. Please take your time and vote. Those who already filled in the voting cards, please submit them, because at the end of the card is the button submit, and it's important to send them back to us. We will be waiting for the final voting results. Once we have them, I will announce them to the General Assembly.
So we are now proceeding with the voting procedure and waiting to collect the answers to the points that Viola mentioned. We will probably wait for a couple of more minutes just to make sure that all of you executed your right to vote. At the end of the voting procedure, Viola will provide the information on the total number of votes and the decision that is taken upon the voting. We have 50 people registered for online. Probably not all of us have the right to vote, so we will wait for most probably between 30-something and 40. Viola, please correct me if we are waiting for a different number, but we would like to have as many of you casting your vote as possible.
We have already 20 cards, so we should wait a couple minutes.
Sure. Let's wait 1.5 minutes.
I'm checking constantly. Yes. Yeah.
We do hope that you all received your voting cards. If you want to check it and verify, the cards were sent from the address general.assembly@absl.pl. Viola, please let us know if you think that we have collected all the votes that we are supposed to collect. I can see 47 people registered, so I guess about 20 something votes we should have.
We have already 25 votes and we are waiting for the final 29 already. We are checking whether there is somebody who is just in the middle of
The voting
filling in
process of casting.
the card, the casting the vote. There is one person who is still in the voting process, so sorry, but we should wait.
Viola, please let us know when this process is over, or maybe if we see who it is, because I'm not sure if that person is aware of the fact that the process may be still open.
I'm just checking, it's the final voting card. We already have the final voting results. It's my pleasure to announce that all resolutions were approved by the General Assembly. We had 30 members voting at the General Assembly and 4 companies which used the option to vote through the email voting before the General Assembly. Due to inability to be today with us. So all resolutions were approved. Detailed voting results will be available to all members on ABSL website in General Assembly tag. Now I would like to close this part of the meeting and ask Piotr for a final word. Thank you.
Dear
Piotr?
Dear members, thank you very much for your commitment to come to our meeting, to our event, Digital Forum, but also to join this General Assembly. This is the critically important element of our ABSL democracy. Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for voting. And I'm wishing you a very good evening, and I hope that that you are going to join our evening, which is going to start soon. Probably we'll say a little more about the coming event.
Yes, thank you very much, Piotr. All participants, just below the screen where you could watch the speakers of the General Assembly, you have a button called ABSL Digital Networking Session. If you press that button, you will be transferred to the ABSL networking session and networking cocktail that have started 5 minutes ago officially, but it will start as soon as we all transfer to that session. So thank you very much once again, as Piotr mentioned, for executing the democracy at ABSL, for being with us, for taking the decision. Thank you very much for being with us at the ABSL Digital Forum, and we hope to see you in a few seconds at the networking session. Thank you.